Some people have suggested the 21st century is going to be the age of nanotechnology. Other people suggest it's going to be the age of biotechnology. I think it's going to be the time in which we realize that we are fundamentally dependent upon nature. And we're going to learn this lesson the hard way, and we are right now with things like rising food prices and rising energy prices, that nature matters.
And so you're taking on huge unknown risks unless you ask the question about do you actually have a corporate code of conduct? Do you know who your buyers and who your sellers are, more importantly? Do you push your values into your supply relationship?
It's good that we all do our part, but what if you want to do more? Like influence a whole industry? Or maybe change government policy? How can you make a real difference? You could try to position yourself in a company or organization that's making those kinds of decisions right now. Why not consider a green career in supply chain management? And just what is supply chain management? Simply put, it's the oversight of three main functions: the supply of materials to a manufacturer, the manufacturing process, and the distribution of finished goods through a network of distributors and retailers to a customer. Companies involved in various stages of this process are linked together through what's known as the supply chain. Today, there's more attention being paid to the effect of the environment on the supply chain and vice versa. And that means there's more opportunity now than ever before. For example, how can businesses monitor and develop their environmentally aware practices?
My name is Brad Clute, and I'm the Sustainability Coordinator for Mount Nickelman Co-op here in Calgary. Mount Nickelman Co-op is a cooperative retailer with a focus on outdoor self-propelled wilderness adventure, so clothing and all the gear that you'd need for that. Within MEC, there's generally someone like myself in every store. We follow through with the national programs on the regional level. So we watch our environmental footprint in the stores, whether that's waste diversion, power consumption. We look at our community involvement, free education programs, helping cycling advocacy groups get up off the ground and get together, as well as grant programs. So we oversee the local grant programs through a 1% for the Planet. All those, there's a national program, and then each area has their budgets for local grant programs that we administer as well. If you want to be a sustainability coordinator, you should just do it. You should just do it. It's important work. The job market for sustainability coordinators, social and environmental responsibility coordinators, is growing. You can get a business education and then focus your personal time on volunteering for environmental organizations, so you'll learn about what programs are happening and what's succeeding out there. Or of course there's environmental sciences, environmental management, and that would bring you in at a much higher level of operations. I believe the skills acquired by anyone in sustainability coordination or social environmental responsibility are transferable into other facets of supply chain management. Indeed, the environmental impacts for businesses are felt from where the products are sourced, whether they're raw materials, manufacturing, shipping, right through to the retail end of things, or where product meets customer. There's environmental impacts, and there's opportunities for environmental responsibility and social responsibility all along that line. Large businesses now are adopting at least some kind of sustainability policy when they're looking at the ethics that are guiding their business. They've realized that there's moral reasons, obviously, to do it, and they've also realized that there's a business case. Customers expect it, and the tide is turning for businesses, absolutely. It is the future of business.
Developing and monitoring sustainability policies, that's one way to make a real difference in a retail setting. There are also important opportunities in the public sector. With an annual spend of over $2 billion in procurement alone, the City of Calgary has a responsibility to ensure that taxpayers' dollars are spent in a way that is consistent with the environmental and social values of the community it serves. And who makes those purchases on the citizens' behalf?
Hi, my name is Tara Blackwell. I'm a senior buyer with the City of Calgary. Senior buyers in our role are responsible for negotiating larger scale contracts. One of our most important initiatives, at least from the purchasing standpoint, is our Sustainable, Ethical, Environmental Procurement Policy, which is a mouthful, but it encompasses social aspects, environmental aspects of the purchasing field. So we're looking at attempting to purchase items that are more environmentally friendly, that reduce our impact on the environment, and that also protect the well-being and safety of workers. If somebody's looking at getting into supply chain management, there are really two paths. You would be looking at going to some post-secondary institution, whether or not it was someplace like Mount Royal, and actually taking a supply chain program there. Or if you went to U of C, you'd go through the commerce route, and you can actually take supply chain management through there. You can also, if you're looking at some of the other levels of supply chain management, so whether or not you're going into the logistics field, the warehousing field, any of those, you can actually do that through specific organizations that are geared toward just getting people the accreditation to go through those programs. So that would be like APICS or PMAC, which is the Purchasing Management Association of Canada. And then there are some organizations within the United States, but specific companies actually have specific targets when it comes to those accreditation programs. So really the easiest way to get into it is to get a post-secondary education. I like to think that I do make a big difference. Maybe not a big difference, but in my mind it's really big. Because 2 years ago I was involved in the curbside recycling project, and I actually bought the blue bins that go on everybody's curb, and the day that they actually started delivering them in my area, I got a little teary because I actually sat there and thought about that I had a direct influence in the fact that all the houses in Calgary now have a blue recycling cart outside, and I helped do that. And yeah, it's pretty heady stuff.
My name is Igor Gelber. I'm a fourth-year business student, and this is my school. I'm attending Mount Royal University. My major is supply chain management and international business. Well, I graduated high school, and right out of high school I came to Mount Royal, and I began in entrepreneurship as my major. So I did that for about a year, and I realized that it wasn't my true passion. I found that with entrepreneurship I wasn't going to land a good, high-paying job right out of school. So I ended up transferring into our supply chain management program. Graduating from supply chain management, I know that I'm going to be working with the environment in a critical way, because we have pollution, we have economic crisis, we have natural disasters, and a lot of these factors can be caused because of the way that we're running our businesses. So I've found that working with companies right now, that they're always looking at new ways to make less of an environmental impact. They're trying to lower their footprint. Well, I believe what I've learned at Mount Royal can be applied in lots of different areas of supply chain management. Mount Royal gives us a general understanding of what supply chain is. Then once we graduate or we're doing our directed field studies, that's where we focus on a specific area of supply chain management. And that's what really gives us that niche, so that we're understanding that area, and then from there we can start growing out and understanding the entire supply chain. If you're looking at pursuing supply chain management at Mount Royal, I advise you to research it. I didn't really research it before I went in, but I found out that once I was in, it was something that was passionate to me. It allowed me to organize a lot of different aspects of my life in the way a supply chain should work. So in a sense, business it's a broad field, and there's different majors that you can pursue. You can go from marketing to accounting, but supply chain itself, it's a unique major and really allows you to take the big picture and then narrow it down so that you can organize it in the way that you want to see it. And then once you can see it properly, you can manage it the proper way. So the advice I can tell you, follow your heart, and that's where it'll lead you to success.